Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Jenks Daly, supervising producer at Late Night, and this is Late Night Lit. You may know Adrienne Brodeur from her past work, in particular, her best-selling memoir, Wild Game, which was published a few years ago. Her latest is a novel called Little Monsters, which is set on Cape Cod and is a spectacular reading choice for wherever you find yourself this summer. We're joined by Adrienne to talk about what surprised her when writing a story from multiple perspectives, her work as the executive director of the literary nonprofit Aspen Words, and if her two teenagers ever weigh in with what they think of her books. Now here's my chat with Adrienne Brodeur. Today we are joined by the author of the new novel, Little Monsters. Adrienne, thanks for being here on Late Night Lit.
Thanks for having me, Sarah.
This novel is terrific. I really enjoyed it. It's a story about a family living on Cape Cod, which is actually where you are now. Is that right?
Actually, I'm in Cambridge right now, but I do live on Cambridge and Cape Cod. I split my time.
Okay, so the tourist season is upon you or approaching out there. I wondered, have you thought about how surreal this might be to walk down the beach and see someone reading your book this summer?
I would love to walk down a beach and see someone reading my book ever. I've actually never impromptu stumbled upon someone reading a work of mine.
I think that's more common maybe if you live in New York City and you ride the subway frequently or a place where you're running into a lot of commuters.
There you go. I'll work on moving.
I read that you were at least partially inspired for the story by a biblical tale when it came to the idea for Little Monsters. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. Well, it's an interesting process how any authors find their way to their books. But I noticed what I was noticing, which is basically my mind or my subconscious kept alighting on siblings and sibling rivalry and what made this sort of relationship so fraught often and so ripe for delving into and exploring. And in any case, I thought then I should go to the original sibling rivalry tale of Cain and Abel. And of course I got there. And that is the slimmest, most bare bones story on earth. I pretty much got nothing from it. I was waiting for, why did? But actually, in the end, what I took away from Cain and Abel, without even really realizing it, which I'm so grateful for, was the structure of the book. The idea that gifts would be given, and this would be a way to reveal a favoritism or a perceived favoritism. So the momentum of Little Monsters all works towards this event at the summer when the patriarch turned 70. It's his birthday celebration.
There are varying perspectives in the book. You write from, I think, is it 5? Different characters? Okay, so Abby and Ken, the siblings you spoke about, their father Adam, Steph, who readers will learn who she is, and Jenny, who is Ken's wife. Was there one perspective that you were either drawn to that was easy for you to write, or alternately really difficult for you to find the headspace for?
I love this question because I feel like I've got the weirdest answer, which is that Adam, this 70-year-old bipolar patriarch, just came to me. I would literally put my hands over the keyboard and he arrived on the page fully formed, sort of this cantankerous, funny, brilliant, dysfunctional, wonderful guy. And he just spoke to me. With all the rest of the characters, I mean, they were of varying difficulty at different moments, but it was much more the traditional. You have to write sort of halfway into your novel to sort of get to know them well enough to really have them kind of come easily to you. But it was so fun to be in a very close third person point of view for each of them, to be really deep in their heads, simply because it was kind of this kaleidoscopic look at this family.
Well, that's interesting because I was struck by how each perspective was specific, incredibly specific, and also felt consistent to the character and the voice as I was reading and when I finished. So, but I guess that might have taken some time for you if that's something you realized halfway through. But how did you try to ensure that each voice did sound unique enough to you?
Really, it is like getting to know them. I mean, I think there's this thought that you approach a novel kind of with this. I mean, you do have a formed idea, but it's this combination of having to hold tight to what you know and not so tightly that a lot of unexpected things can't happen. So it is just what you said. It is the process of going for some time, getting to know these characters very well. But the fun about being so deeply inside the various points of view is that your reader knows more than any of the other characters do. So you've sort of got this
Right.
very rich environment to play with.
Your previous book was an award-winning memoir called Wild Game. I haven't read that yet. I just want to start off. I definitely will now that I've read about it.
Thanks.
I'd guessed that was a completely different writing experience than a fictional story, but there are some similarities from what I read in terms of the setting and maybe honesty in relationships and the secrets that people keep that you seem like you want to continue to explore. And I was wondering if that is true. Is that something you find you want to keep writing about?
Absolutely. I think, I mean, as anyone who has read Wild Game, I mean, it just will come as no surprise that I'm fascinated by family secrets and that, they inhabit this new book in a big way. And I just think secret keeping, it's so, I mean, it's something that most humans do on some level or another. And it just makes for really compelling fiction or nonfiction for that matter, because there's a tension between the truth, between what's making you keep these secrets. Is it shame? Is it being kind? Why are you holding this information? And of course, the when is it going to come out? Which we all know, secrets secrets don't like to stay secret.
And sometimes they don't come out at the best times either.
Absolutely.
I was wondering what the writing process in general looks like for you. Do you try to set specific time aside in your day to do it?
Yes, I am one of those disciplined writers. I do not wait for the muse to strike. I sit down and hope she can keep up. But yeah, I have two children. I've got an elderly father. I have a job that I love. I've got a very busy life, like most of us. And so I carve time when no one can bother me, which I have found the perfect time is 5 a.m. It's before my own to-do list can kick in. So I get my coffee. I, sit at my desk. I either write longhand or on my computer, but it's really just sort of the witching hour. It's the perfect hour for me. It's quiet. It's that liminal state. I think I'm still connected to my subconscious a bit, but it's perfect. And that's when I write every day.
Do you find you have to do it in the same place
No,
structurally?
I mean, I really can write almost anywhere provided, but I'm not good. I admire the people who can go to Starbucks and have music in the background and so on. I have my little weird, quirky writer rituals and have to kind of just feel right. And so, but then I can do it anywhere.
You mentioned your two children. Do they read anything you write, or are they interested?
Well, my daughter has read this novel, which was really fun because she hadn't read the memoir, which was fine. In fact, I sort of felt proud of the fact that she didn't read it because I had been, as you'll know if you read the memoir, I had been so obsessed and overly involved with my own mother that I thought, wow, this is great. She doesn't want to know every nuance of my personal life, and that's fabulous. And she loves really world building fiction and those types of things. But she read it on spring break and really loved it, which was fun. My son is 14, and I'd say, nah, he's not so interested. My father was a writer, and I didn't read his work until I was in my early 20s. I mean, I dipped in, but, snooze, right? You're not interested in your parents. You're interested in your social life.
Yeah, I don't think you're interested in your parents until you get older.
Yeah.
But that's probably for the best, like you said.
Definitely.
In addition to published author, you mentioned a full-time job. You're the executive director of the literary nonprofit Aspen Words. I was hoping you could talk a little bit about what that role entails and maybe some things about the organization itself.
I would love to. So my background, I sort of went through life as a literary editor. And then about 10 years ago, I pivoted, which was wonderful, into this role as an executive director of a literary nonprofit. So Aspen Words is the literary program of the Aspen Institute. We have events and a writing workshop. We have an author speaking series. We have we have a writer in residency program, and one exciting program we do, which I started about 5 or 6 years ago, is the Aspen Words Literary Prize, which is a $35,000 award for a work of fiction that shines a spotlight on a social issue. But it's really just a fantastic organization whose mission is to inspire readers, encourage writers, and connect people through stories.
That's fantastic. I hope people get a chance to check that out, as well as your novel, which is so great. Lastly, I wanted to ask, is there a book you'd like to recommend for our listeners to pick up this summer?
I just finished Claire Dederer's Monsters, and it is such a brilliant book. It is nonfiction, and it's essentially this really thoughtful reflection on what to do with famous artists who are also monstrous people. So like the Picassos of the world, the Roman Polanskis, but she is just so reflective and so thoughtful about how she approaches it. And it's something I think we're all thinking about.
Absolutely. That sounds fascinating. I'll have to check that out too.
She's a great writer.
Well, thank you again, Adrienne. It was so nice to talk to you, and thank you for taking the time to join us.
Thank you.
This has been Late Night Lit. My thanks to Seth Meyers, Mike Shoemaker, Adrienne Brodeur, Jay Johnson, Ross Leupold, Maria Torres, and Rafael Ajuelos. Our theme music was written and performed by the 8G Band. For Late Night with Seth Meyers, I'm Sarah Jenks Daly. Thanks for listening, and happy reading.